So, hello.
Good evening to everyone, and I think we're ready to start. Yeah, Vero?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Yeah, so yes, I'm Veronika Nepple, and I'm art therapist and the artist, and yeah, I love to work with Reem together, and we want to tell you all a bit of our experiences due to the Sudan Moves project today.
Okay. My name is Reem, and I am an architect and an artist. And like Vera mentioned, we've been working together for 6 weeks on the Sudan Moves online residency. As you all know, we've been working on the topic of art therapy. And today we're going to explain a bit about the process that we went through and the methods we used and how we dealt with the concept of art therapy in our project for the residency, which was titled Non-Verbal Dialogue.
Yes, it was nice starting. Well, I will tell a bit from the beginning. And yeah, we had some phone calls at the beginning, and were brainstorming about the idea, what can we do in this new collaboration. And yeah, we were not used to get to know each other, because it was really far away. Reem was in the Sudan and I was in Switzerland, and so we decided on the phone calls, okay, let's grab the ideas and collect them, how we can create a part of this project together. And yes, I think it was easy, because we both were very open and had many ideas what to do. And so because we're both interested in art and art therapy, we found this idea that we can work with a nonverbal dialogue, which is a method which comes from the art therapy. And yeah, it is based on a method which is called the squiggle game, which is from was developed from an psychologist and a doctor in the early 1960s and yeah, he found out that you can work with this method very playful to create a relationship between a therapist normally and the child, and we modified it a bit for our project.
Yes, yeah, so I think mainly because Vera working as, the time we started the residency, Vera was working as an art therapist in a clinic, and with her experience in art therapy, so she suggested this method so we can use it. And like she mentioned, it's like a game between the therapist and the kid. And in our situation, we didn't want to have the roles of a therapist and a patient, so we tried to modify the method to work between two people trying to get to know each other through these works and through their images. So what we try to do is, like she mentioned in the method, the therapist looks at the child's work and tries to analyze it. And I think, Vito, you can explain more about how you didn't want us to be in the position of having a therapist and a patient.
Yes, I think what the challenge was that I'm normally in my role as an art therapist, and then I'm in the role of the responsibility and yeah, trying to help the other client or the child to found a positive way to get trust to me, and to find yeah, a helpful and empowering way in this process to get creating things, and also should be playful, because then it is fun, and then it is not like a secret or a really hard part of therapy. And yeah, I think for childs it's a great method, but also for us adults, because it is possible to experiment in a way. Normally, it starts that the child is making a squiggle, which means it draws just any line, and the therapist takes the paper again and creates something new of this squiggle. So it comes to a dialogue. It changes all the time, the child and then the therapist and again the child, and it is a way of a dialogue which is creating really a playful moment together. And the role of the therapist is to focus on the positive resources of the child, and yeah, also to help the child deal with the feelings which maybe can come into a picture. And so it is also the part to analyze and to look where are positive moments. And for example, there is a line and then you can make a butterfly of it, and then it's a beautiful moment, for example. Yes, and then you can also create a flower of a line. And yeah, so it comes to pictures, and we decided to do it not in this roles, because we wanted to work in two roles which have the same meaning, yeah, that we are both equal. And the idea was more to take the pressure of a big artist project outside and to have together this experiment to get to know us and to build a relationship between this project and between us, yeah, due to this dialogue. And so, yeah, it was really, I would say, an adventure. I don't know, how would you call it, Reem? Yeah, it was a nice adventure for me, and yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. It was a great experience. And like Vero mentioned, the method is usually used to, I mean, through this experiment, I was able to learn more and more about art therapy because, like we said, Vero was already practicing. So like she said, the method was used to build trust between the person and the child. And this is what we tried to take out of this method, also to build trust between the both of us and to be able to share our work and to be able to get to know each other only through this work. Because when we were first introduced to the project, we had no previous encounter, we didn't know each other. And it was a perfect way to try and be to work together and build trust at the same time. So this method really helped us to get to shape our project the way that we eventually put it together. And we transformed the method to be able to work with it into creating a series of paintings and artworks. So I think when we first started to get ideas about how to go through expressing our artistic skills and at the same time introducing the concept or the methods of the art therapy, we started by putting the work into 3 categories, or making something like a story or a narrative for building this story. And we came up with 3 categories for working with the paintings. We started building them through past, present, and then the future. We worked in questions. I mean, Vera was very helpful with her experience. She was able to provide us with questions and analytical methods to help us walk through the works we were creating. So we chose these 3 categories because we were trying to get to know each other through the work. At the same time, we were trying to tell stories and introducing them to each other. And I mean, we chose these categories because you know a person by the experiences they went through, what they're going through now, and what they're hoping for in the future.
Yes, and it was really nice to go about this timeline also, like you say, Reem. Yes, it's this movement from the past to the future, yeah, past, present, future, and this timeline has this narrative aspect inside, and so yeah, we get to know us about these pictures, and we opened up a kind of a intermediate space. I mean, the space between our unconsciousness about our past and about the present, and follow it until our visions for the future. And yeah, so we could combine both the unconsciousness with the reality, and also have this mirror together with this working of projection and transmission, like you have it in yeah, in the every relationship, normally in the real relationships.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think the main difference between the original method and how we worked with it is that in the method Vero mentioned, it's only one-sided. It's the therapist taking from the child's or the person's work and trying to analyze it and take from it. But in our case, it was a two-way kind of relationship. We were also, I mean, she would paint and I would try to take from it, and then I would send her a work and she would try to reflect on it and take something from it and then create something else out of that. So at the end, each work was an accumulation of our own ideas and what we get from the other person as we go through the process of trying to learn about each other and how we live. Considering that we live in two different countries and we've never met, or just trying to get to know this other person only through these works, and without getting into the analytic part of the whole therapy thing.
Yes, and yeah, you described it very great. I think it's I would go further maybe now. So I mean, maybe back to the part where we said what materials we used. So we already said we started with the painting, and then we decide to go further with the collage. And the collage work was like a new challenge for us, because it combines different aspects again. I mean, you have to destroy something, and then you have the different pieces, and then you bring it in a new way together. And this was a good method to take our idea to make pictures of the outside world, so from Khartoum and from Basel, so where we live, and to combine these pieces with parts of our inner world. And so we bring all these pieces together and like create new pictures and yeah, like new realities with it. And yeah, this could sometimes be a bit confusing or a challenge, because there comes much parts together, or many parts, you have to say, yeah, come together. And but also it allows to have like a containing moment, that you can put pieces in the picture of the other, which can be also very helpful, and to combine this yeah, this real parts with the parts of the emotional feeling and of the sides which you normally maybe not would found when you work alone. So and this was the part where we could reflect on again, and then found the vision for the future.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That it's very different from working alone. I mean, creating these pieces. If you try to even go through these ideas, they wouldn't be the same if you were just doing them alone. And I think the most important part about this was the reflection, like you mentioned. After creating a few works and going through these phases, we took a pause to try and reflect about this work, because like she mentioned, in the therapy, what the therapist does is he analyzes and reflects, and the reflections from the person creating these works. We try to do this together. Vero was sending the questions about the reflection and trying to see how these works affected us, or what we discovered during creating these works, what we discovered about each other, the whole process, how it made us feel, and how the creation was going through this time, and before going to the last phase of the works. And I think it shows in our works that the final works were very different from what we started. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you can say, yeah, it were really different. And
Yeah.
and I think you can see it that it has this deepness, or it goes more and more to this deepness, and also that I felt that we create this stronger relationship through to this pictures. It was a really special experience, and a special way, because yeah, to get it to do it like two women and two artists, and it's really different than my experience from the art therapy.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not sure if we should say more about the end, about yeah, maybe if there are questions already, maybe, yeah, genau. It could be possible that you see the space and the pictures and then maybe there are questions.
Okay, maybe we can start with the paintings. Yeah, so like Vera mentioned, we used almost 3 mediums. We worked on canvases, acrylic paints, we used markers, we used collage works, photography. I mean, the present part was really interesting because this is where we applied the collage, and it contained a lot of elements. Like we would use daily life photography, we would use clips from papers, newspapers, and we would even sketch over it, pictures from Vero, pictures from me. So we created these surreal images, and there were a combination of worlds. They were a combination of 2 worlds. Parts from my life, parts from Vero's life, and in the middle they created something that was not exactly real. Yeah. And I think it could also be interpreted in many ways how these images came to be. And we use this method in the present because we felt like we wanted to work with more mediums, and for the present, it would be suitable to use the photos and clips from things we find in our daily life.
Yes, and I think they create their own language. It was like in every one collage you can go inside with your own ideas and connect with your own pictures and your own interpretation, because it's like a part of a storytelling in every piece of this new little worlds which come there, you can say.
Each and every one of them had its different story. I mean, even without having to explain what they say, the combination was very different from the paintings we created.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, in this collage, you see a nice come together with the part of Sudan and Switzerland. What we also did was that we changed sometimes a receipt of food, for example, or of the culture. So due to our WhatsApp dialogue, not in this picture, but in the picture you see the food. So for example, it's a part of the symbol of our relationship, which was growing. Yeah. I told Reem how to make this breakfast.
Yeah, and like you keep mentioning, I mean, even for you in therapy, it's all about the connection and the trust. So what we were trying to create, even through our conversations, is this connection that we were building, and it was very different because it was revolving around these works, and at the same time seeing different cultures, different parts of life, you know, because you and I live differently, and seeing all this, trying to build this relationship was happening through the art we were creating.
Yes, I would say, and I would say you can see it in the pictures, so everybody can dive in and make his own picture about this. Yes, but I think it's for me also it's a really empowering way of coming together. And it was really a great experience, to work with you as a great artist and as a powerful woman, and it gives us this opportunity to show a part of our time at this moment due to this Corona crisis and all this crisis in history, or even in the personal maybe, but also in the bigger challenge, the history and the society. And I think this is also seeing in this collage, for example. This.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the experience was different for the paintings. I mean, they were easier to work with, and I mean, as we're both painters, it was something in our expertise, but it's how we interpret each other's work and then try to reflect from it. So what we did was, it was like a conversational type of work. I mean, the work starting from the first sketches that we were creating, and then we wouldn't explain what the work is about or how we got to this art. I would just send it to Vero. She would look at it and see how she reflects through it and what she can take from it, what she sees in it, and how I'm trying to what I'm trying to tell through these works. And then she would create another piece based on that, and so on. The process goes like this. So it's just all based on having these conversations only through the art. And I think this is the whole point of the art therapy, is that, I mean, I read this thing once where someone says, I mean, they can't say it, but they can draw it. And I think it's in one of the articles that you sent me about the art therapy.
Yes, because this is often, I would say this is the big, amazing part of the art therapy, that sometimes there are stories or meanings they can't be told, and but they can be told with pictures sometimes. I mean, with a drawing or with a painting or with a sculpture, and it can speak much more about this feeling which is behind the story, which cannot be told with words sometimes. And this important part is that there is this testimony that it gets seen, even if it's not clearly talked into the deepness. But maybe in the art therapy progress, and that's a difference, I would say, the art therapist would talk with the client or would try to explore the picture in a sensitive way, so that the client can learn something and reflect something, to have the chance to make a personal development due to this progress. And we let it open and just take it as this experiment to get touched from the other artist and from the artist work of the other, and take so this connection, and not to go too deep to analyze, but to have this conversation over this pictures in this way of being touched, I would say. Yes. And
now that's a great description of it. And maybe we can talk more about the questions and the reflection we did about the writing part. We didn't only have the painting. After the collage, we took a pause about trying to reflect our feelings, how the process went.
Yes. Maybe for the process, I would say, I mean, a big part of the progress was this experimentation, I would say, and to let it open where it leads at the end. I mean, the method was really very modified, so we had this ground to play and to look what comes from the other, and to have this like a game, yes, with a ball, which is like a ping pong, and you send a picture and then another picture comes back, and it comes very easily into a flow, I would say. So I mean, I never did it with another artist person, like this collaboration, and it would really interest me if it would be with everyone like this, easily flowing, or maybe it's because some of our experiences are similar. We can find each other in some points of experience which we both share. And that was something which pushed me in my artistical practice, because I could learn much from Reem, yes, from this way of having a concept of first drawing something, and very different than my normal way with abstract work, for example.
No, I think it was a two-way learning experience, because like you said, you worked differently and I did something different, but along the way we were able to create something together, and we were able to learn from each other. You learned how to do it with the sketches first, like you mentioned, and I went to trying the abstract more. It all came to our process with trying to experiment, like you said. And I think, like you mentioned, it was a two-way kind of work. So it was very exciting and interesting.
Yes, for me as well. Yes, and I would love to go further. So maybe we can go further. Even if
definitely.
Project is at the end, we can look what different languages we can create together, maybe with different medias. And yes.
Okay. We have one question. So Aya is asking, what are some of the hardships that you both faced?
What are some of the hardships?
Yeah. I mean, what was hard about this experience?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Should I start, or do you want to start?
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I think what was not so easy, that I wasn't used to work in this kind of collaboration. So I mean, we are mostly dependent on the partner of the project. For example, when comes the picture back, and this time things, when do we meet? And I mean, this is one of the organizing part where I would say, it's, I mean, sometimes a little bit chaotic, but it's okay. I think this is my part, and yes, it's okay. This is also a part of a normal artistic progress, but it's not like when you work independent, then you can decide. You have not a time until something have to be finished or something, or you have to send something back, or you wait until the picture comes. But the hardest part, I would say, for me was the thing with the roles, that I try to stay in my artist role and not go for the art therapist role. That was really sometimes confusing me. Because of the starting point where I suggest the idea, I sometimes had this feeling of I have to lead or something, but I wanted us to be equal, and I think it was good that we, I think we managed it, that we were equal, and more and more, it was really feeling for me that I'm more artist than art therapist, which I really welcome.
Yeah. I mean, for me, because this whole experience was an online experience, it was very hard to work only digitally, because we've never met and we don't know anything about each other, and trying to make it work. I mean, we were creating art at the end of the day, so I wasn't able to see these works as they are, as paintings, because we were only receive pictures, so that made the process a bit harder. And like Vera mentioned, the most difficult part was the feeling of having my works analyzed, or I mean, with your experience as a therapist, as an art therapist, it was this thing where is she gonna reflect through these works? Is she gonna analyze them? But I think through the trust that we built together, and how we made it equal, the process was very smooth at the end of the day, because I mean, you did a great job with trying to balance things out.
Thank you.
Yeah, also because the collage part was really hard, and also trying to reflect. I mean, after we created the collage, we decided to reflect on what we did. The reflection was also a bit of a hard task, because you stop and you look at these works and try to see what you discovered, why you created these things, what was your reason, and how they made you feel. I mean, normally I don't do that. I just create something and that's it. But trying to see why it happened, and trying to explain. I mean, not explaining the works themselves, but explaining the process and how it made you feel. It was a bit of a hard task to do, but at the end of the day, the whole project was a great experience.
Yes, I would say as well. I would agree totally. There's nothing to say more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you for your question, and I think we can have more questions now. And the whole works we created are available on the exhibition website.
Yeah, so I mean, there is no more question. No.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. So the last chance in the next 2 minutes. So if there are no more questions, I would say, yeah, we will end now with this point. At this point, is it fine for you, Reem?
Yeah, I think that's good. I don't have anything else to add. Do you have something you would like to add?
No, just a big thank you to you and a big thank you to the Sudan Moves project, to Larissa, to Laura, to all who shared with us the project, because it was really great. And thank you for your support. And
I have 2 more questions, Vero.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a question. How was the experience different to what you expected?
Okay. I have to say I had no expectations. I have really to say this, because I really was open and said to Reem, this is an experiment. We can take this method, but I'm not sure where it will lead us.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I had the hope that we come to a progress, and that we can create something together. That was what I was hoping for. And now it is for me that I see that we could create something a bit bigger than in our own world as a independent artist. And it was good to do this during this crisis time. It was really empowering, and really great that somebody was there which looks with this big attention at your work. And it was really empowering. I don't know, maybe if you had expectations, Reem, for the art therapy.
Not at all. I mean, the first time Idrisi approached me with the project and he showed me your work on your account on Instagram, I mean, I immediately liked what you did. You had a few paintings posted, and I think I didn't put any expectations, but I was really excited because when he said it's art therapy and you're going to be working with an art therapist, I was like, oh my God. But then I saw that you were also a painter, and you used all these different mediums in your work, and the abstract forms in your paintings. It was like, okay, you can calm down now. She's a painter too. You can work together. So that was good. But overall, I didn't have any expectations of how the experience would go. And like you mentioned, it was experimental to both of us, because we kept trying new ideas, trying new methods to work together through these conversations. So it was very different from anything I have ever experienced. Okay, the second question is really fascinating process. Thank you so much, Aya. And what are some big reflections that you came across during this process?
Yeah, the big reflections. I would say we talked much about it already. For example, this part of the role, of this confusing moment between a role conflict of artist or art therapist. And it is always in this progress together asked that you, follow a part of your own style, but also take something from the other. So it's always this oscillating between you and between the other person. And I think this is sometimes yeah, sometimes challenging. I mean, it's a good way to see what comes from the other, what is projected in your picture, or what does your picture says to the other person, because you see what comes back. So I think this is a part of reflection where we talked in our phone calls, and where we could found personal or some details. I don't want to go too deep inside now, because I mean it's this frame here, but I think there are some parts where we found that we have similar experiences in a way. And yeah, it was this part of that the progress was more the outcome of this thing than the artworks at the end. Maybe this is one of the other big part of the reflection, I would say.
Yeah, I think to me also something sometimes a few things were surprising. I would notice, or thanks to Vero, I started noticing patterns in my work, trying to see what they stand for, how they came to shape this way. I mean, every time we look at our pictures, we see that we have a few things that keep repeating themselves in these pictures. And so to me that was good thing that we discovered through this reflection, or I got to see through going back to the reflections.
There is one more question. Yes, there is one more question.
Yeah.
Are you finished, or do you want to say something more, Reem, or is it fine?
No, it's fine. It's fine. We have this one last question.
Yes. There is written, is there any common idea in the content of your art you have created together during the project?
Do you want to start?
I mean, yes, the common idea, I think the common idea is about how to create a relationship during the nonverbal. Yeah, it's what kind of language can I create to tell themes which matter to me, to the other person, and even how can I transform this in a way that is telling something but not telling everything. so like you do it as a painter, yeah, you paint a picture but you not write clearly inside what the picture means. And yeah, and I think this is the common idea, how to build trust in a relationship with a stranger, you can say, and how to create a language that you get understand, or that you can understand each other to your work, and to combine this different work techniques. And yeah, I would say it's this. Yeah,
I think you answered this perfectly, and I think our time is over here. So thank you so much, Vero, and we had a great experience creating these artworks together, and we're very excited about doing more projects together in the future. And thank you for the Sudan Moves team for joining us together and for giving us this opportunity to create and share what we created with everyone watching. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.